you grow in proportion to the weight you take on voluntarily. And it's also true that we have no idea what the upper limit to that is, right? So, you know, you've met remarkable people in your life. People can do remarkable things. And there are inevitably people who took on remarkable burdens. And because they did that, their development was forced by necessity. They were forced by necessity to grow beyond what they were. And who knows what the limit to that is?
The question of worth it is reliant on an outcome. We don't make these things for an outcome. It's not the mindset to make something great. The outcome happens. You're making the best thing you can make. It's a devotional practice.
If you have one good day where you eat clean, you drink a lot of water, and you, like you did, you got that day, you woke up, you put your shoes on, you went for a run, you worked out your driveway, you got a good day in.
Yep.
That's sometimes all you need to do and decide, this is what I do from now on. I have good days.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's going to be another good day, and then I'm going to force myself into another good day. And the next thing you know, I've got some momentum.
Right.
You got some momentum, you could change everything.
Yep.
I've felt many times in my life, I've felt like I could slip the wrong way, and I see it. I see the dark hole, and I go, fuck that, and just go the other way. The problem is when people fall into that dark hole, they think that defines them, but it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't define you. It's just you right now. You could be totally different tomorrow. You're a human being. You can think, you can adjust.
Wake up to your own potential. Realize how divine and magnificent you are. And realize you have the power to make changes. You are not stuck. You can begin to make changes by changing the way you think. And above all, go to the mirror and look in your eyes and say, I love you. I really, really love you.
Some people know how to live better than others with or without money. They just sort out and pick a better person to share their time with. You feel what I'm saying? Even if you sleep in a one-bedroom apartment, then you may be richer than a rich guy. You see what I'm saying? Your life, the fabric of your life and what you're doing and how you feel about yourself at the moment. If the person if that's sufficient for them, like then at the top of it, they're not, do you need that?
Whenever I was in college and I was feeling really stressed out and I was overwhelmed at times and I didn't like what the situation was, I would always say, what would I tell my future son? Because if I can't tell him to get through adversity right now, if I can't tell him to keep pushing through, if I don't live that, if I don't live through that, how am I gonna ever give him genuine advice one day to get through it on his own? So you gotta think, man, like sometimes you go through things and you don't know the reason at first, but it's not for right now. It's to help someone later, like your son or your daughter. Sometimes you're living through the toughest thing ever and you don't know why it's happening to you. But sometimes, guys, it's bigger than what you can even see right now. Sometimes your son gonna be looking you in the eye and say, Dad, how do I get through this? And then what are you gonna tell him when you quit before? What are you gonna tell him when you took shortcuts? That's the point, man. There's so much stuff that's bigger than you right now that you're going through for a bigger purpose than you can even imagine.
Why don't you set a goal to become a millionaire? I'm 25 years old. He said, this is America, land of opportunity. Why don't you set a goal to become a millionaire? And then he said, for what it will make of you to achieve it. And I thought, wow, that's a whole different philosophy. Set a goal to become a millionaire for the person you have to become in order to be worth $1 million. Then he said, once you've become a millionaire, you can give the money away because what's important is not what you got, but the person you became. And I got the message.
If you think you have room to grow, you do and you will. If you think you're as good as you can be, you're right, and you won't get any better. No matter how great you are, no matter how good things have went, when you're humble, you always feel as if I can do this a little bit better, or you show up with the mentality that you're open to doing things in a better way. You don't never show up and speak in terms of, oh, we did that already, right? Already accomplished that, right? Day one mentality and energy. When I show up, I'm trying to improve every single day. That doesn't mean errors. That doesn't mean opposition, that doesn't mean perfection, right? That means every single day I'm showing up and I'm trying to pursue the quest of becoming better.
You will never feel ready to do things that scare you. You will never feel ready to jump off the cliff. You will never feel ready to take that leap. And the reason why is based on science and research. Your brain is designed to protect you, and change requires risk. And so you are protecting yourself by saying maybe tomorrow.
Self-confidence is self-trust, and self-confidence is the process of keeping the promises that you make to yourself. So the way we begin to build our self-confidence up is we start setting promises up with ourselves that we keep. And when you begin to stack those promises, when I meet someone who's not self-confident, I know this is someone who has consistently broken promises they make to themselves. They start a diet, they don't stay with it. They say they're gonna get up at a certain time of day, they don't do it. They say they're gonna make a certain amount of contacts a day in their business, they don't do it. When I meet a confident person, this is someone who trusts themselves. So what I would say to you is absolutely, I can tell you exactly what to do. You need to begin to make promises to yourself, set up the game early where you can keep them, stack that stuff and create momentum. And what happens is you will begin to build a reputation with yourself that you can trust you. And that's what a self-confident person has. That's what you have. That's what you have, is you've built a pattern with you of keeping the promises you make to yourself. That's what self-confidence is.
I don't care if I lose everything. I don't care what happens. Nothing really is ours anyway in life. We only borrow it until we die, and it all goes. Yeah. The only thing we truly own in this life is moments in time. And this is a moment in time for me that will never be erased. And no matter what happens, this is always going to be my time. This will be my moment in time because I lived here and I was a part of this. Yeah. You know, everything else, this bag, this watch, these clothes, they will all go. What does it really matter?
You might think that bed's warm, feels all comfortable. You come here, you kill it, give it everything you have, leave it all here. The warmth you feel after that, second to none, man. Second to none. No sheet can provide that comfort for you. When you give it all here, guys, and you leave it all here, you at your weakest state, bottom of the barrel. What's about to happen? Your greatest triumph. You kill yourself on pride in here, leave nothing to spare. What's gonna come? The growth of opportunity.
I think that if you look at any man who's very good at being a man, most of them have had extremely traumatic lives. Yeah. If you're going to talk about the most brave man you can think of, he's been through trauma. If you think of the best soldier you can think of, he's been through trauma. You think about anything, the man who's going to charge into the burning building, the fireman, he's been through trauma. If you find a man who's never had any traumatic experiences, he's terrible at being a man. Yeah. He's weak and he's soft and he'll collapse and he's never struggled. I know me, and I don't want to tell a bunch of stories on the internet, but I know all the shit I went through and all the pain I had to suffer to become the man I am. And every time I meet another guy who has his life in order, it's the same story. This fucked me up, but I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna attack the world anyway. Yeah. And that's how it goes. So as a man, you're right. You have to be vulnerable, you have to feel it, you have to accept it, but you have to put it in a positive direction. This is what's so dangerous about what we were saying earlier, where people make excuses and externalize. Yeah. Because they're taking that trauma and that pain, instead of going, I fucked up. She left me because I wasn't good enough, I'm gonna become better. Instead, she is the problem. It's there, and then they lose their ability to go and become something. They lose their own motivational force, and then they sit there with a fucking ego and arrogance and go, I don't need to become any better. I can stay a jackass. It's all her fault. I'll find another one. And then it happens on repeat, and it just ends up a downward cycle of dumb shit.
Never say you can't do it. Say, I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it yet. And that's true with everything. It's like, there's nothing that you can't do. You may not have done it yet. We don't know if you can do it or not until you really practice, and then you find out if you can do it or not, or how well you can do it.
Yeah. You have to have delusion, 100%. You have to be the first person that thinks that you're going to do what you're about to do, regardless of what anyone else thinks. You got to believe it. So it is delusional.
Man, the beauty of being someone who has to go through struggle, because you get that. If there's no struggle, that's the thing. If there's no struggle, then it's nothing. There's no journey. There's no journey. You get to make that magic, man. You get to be the story.
I give you the map. You are willing to do that? Yeah. It's the main point, because everyone wants to be Cristiano, but I give you the map. You think you will do it that? It's difficult. It's the discipline. The discipline is the most difficult thing, not only in sports, but in life.
But decisiveness, moving forward quickly on decisions, as quickly as you responsibly can, is how you increase velocity. Most of what slows things down is taking too long to make decisions at all skill levels. So it has to be part of the culture to get high velocity. Amazon has 1.5 million people, and the company is still fast. We're still decisive. We're still quick.
I mean, it's been a struggle some days. I won't lie. Some days I'm like, man, this is tiring. This is hard. Now I embrace the hard. I want that every single day. I don't ever want anything to be easy. I think whenever it's hard, like you really, really, really deserved it. If it's hard and you get it done, you gave everything to it, that's yours. Nobody can take that from you.
Now, one of the things I recommend to young people, especially true for people in their 20s, is that you should push yourself beyond your limits of tolerance in your 20s to find out where it is. How much can you work? How disciplined can you become? Like, can you work 12 hours a day? Can you work 8 hours a day? Can you work 3 hours a day? Like, flat out. Where's your limit? And how much work can you do and how much socialization? You should find out. Push yourself past and then back off to that point where it's optimally sustainable.
So when people look for that happiness factor, is your foundation and your fundamental principles so strong that if this thing was to go away, could you still create happiness and success all over again? If your foundation and principles are extremely strong, no matter what endeavor it is. You look at the most successful people in business and everything else, they've gone to do multiple things that have allowed them to create different levels of happiness within that confined circle. You know, Michael had basketball. Then he had the shoe brand. Now he's got other endeavors. He's involved in, a lot of philanthropy things. The competitive nature doesn't stop, and everybody thinks you can only be happy with one certain aspect in your life. You can create happiness in multiple things in your life, and if it gets to the point where it is burning you out, that means it's time for that you are no longer obsessed with that thing anymore, and it's time for you to become obsessed with something else.
I'm a big believer that you should only listen to somebody or take advice from people who have bigger dreams for your life than you do. And I think most people don't have bigger dreams for you, which just means that for me, their advice isn't valid. I think that in the dark times that you will inevitably have in life, having someone who believes in you is just everything. It can be everything.
You have to start with action. It needs to be, okay, what would have had to have happened in a week's time for me to look back on that week and find pride in myself? Maybe stop breaking promises to yourself. When you say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 7 a.m., and when the option comes to hit the snooze button, don't do it. There's one win that you've got for the day. That's action.
There's a hell of a lot more to you than you think, way more. Enough to cope with the trouble of the world inside you. There is enough to cope with the trouble of the world. And if you had enough courage, you could let that out. Enough courage and faith, you could let that out, and everything would be better because of it. Really, really. And so that's a good story, and it's also true. And so I'm trying to tell that story.
People wasn't really with you, they was part-time. People switch up when it's wartime. I'd rather have people who are really with me and not people who are just trying to use me.
But if you believe that you're good at what you do, and you strive to be good at what you do, you don't need to worry about what other people think. You need to be able to understand that you have your own confidence that you can do whatever it is you're required to do, and other people will see that confidence in you. The minute you start doubting yourself, other people will see that you're doubting yourself, and that becomes a weakness in your personality. So you always want to be confident in everything you do, that you can do it, you can get it done, you'll find a way to get it done.
I don't know what your future is, but if you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it.
If you ever see me in a Rolls Royce, a private plane, a 6 or 7-star hotel, living my life to the fullest, don't hate on me. Don't get jealous of me, because I work my ass off to get it. Everything about my life and career, I've earned it. Ain't nobody gave me shit. Nobody handed me nothing. If you want it, go get it.
I want to be up, then anybody in the world wants me to be down. And it's all about, well, like I said before, self-belief. My whole success is from belief. Something I can feel, but not actually see.
When you're feeling the most trapped and down and nothing can't go right, I feel like those are the moments that define you.
Those are those character canon moments that are like, what am I going to do now? You know, how do you respond to that? Thinking your way, feeling your way, working your way through those things. On the other side, it's like, you know, I don't know who said the saying, but like usually, you know, you're the closest to getting what you want is always the hardest. It's always the feeling when you're getting ready to, you know, people give up right before they get what they've always wanted to get. People quit.
You don't find out who people really are till the shit hits the fan. And
in that sense, it's useful.
100%. People talk a lot of, you know, how much they care about their employees or how good a friendship is or how good a relationship is, but you really don't know until you hit hard times.
When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. That most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to give up sleep. If you really want to be successful, some days you're going to have to stay up 3 days in a row. You got to want to be successful so bad that you forget to eat.
You be that warrior in that garden. All right? And you stand strong. You be a strong man. You be a good man. And you just let the world rage around you.
It's hard to imagine, but you have to learn how to fail. Because I'm going to explain this to you. I had big dreams. A lot of us have big dreams, big goals. And when you have goals that are maybe outside your reach, you have to know that getting to that goal, you're going to have a lot of bad days.
Whatever I'm afraid to do, I do it. Anything I'm afraid of, I confront it. And that's my personality. Like right now, I'm scared to death. But as the fight gets closer, the less nervous I become because it's reality. And in reality, I'm invincible.
Create a life that you can't wait to wake up to. I live that life. I hate to sleep. I hate sleeping. I love every minute of my life. Love every minute of it. I can't wait to wake up tomorrow. I can't wait to start tomorrow. And when you really feel that way, I really don't give a shit about a lot of things. Everybody judges by success of money or business accomplishments or games you won and things like that. The true measure of success is how happy are you. I know some guys that are fucking crazy rich and the most miserable human beings you could ever meet. If you get up every day and you're really happy and you really do enjoy and love your life and you love you're surrounded by people you love doing it with, you could not be more successful.